Everyone, my name's Stonesy Boy and welcome back to Reading with Stonesy. Today we are reading pages 126 to 140. We're starting the new story to Pizza Kit, which to me reminds me of another story we read for the Tales of the Pizzaplex books. And I mean, it could be the same one, I guess. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Or, you know, I had a theory a long time ago when I used to do the videos, the other videos, that the Fazbear Frights to Pizza Kit, or, Fazbear Frights to Tales of the Pizzaplex, the Tales of the Pizzaplex are more either continuations or retellings of the Fazbear Fright stories. And I don't know where I got that idea, but it just kind of popped in my head one day, and I was like, okay, well, it'd definitely be... And it's an interesting concept, even though I have no backing on it, except the similarity in stories. But, you know, what do I know? What I do know is, it's time to start, so let's begin. Pizza Kit. I can't believe you talked me into taking home EC, Peyton said, as she sat down with her best friend Marley at a long table in the classroom. Who takes home EC these days? Come on, it's an easy A, Marley said, taking a notebook out of her backpack. I mean, look around. How hard can it be? Surveying the classroom, Peyton had to admit that Marley might have a point. The room was lined with kitchen counters, sinks, and stoves. There were sewing machines and headless, armless mannequins for making patterns and adjusting them, and adjusting hems. Tucked in one corner of the room were a washer and dryer. They were going to be graded on laundry? Peyton laughed. Well, it's not exactly a chemistry lab, is it? Nope, Marley said with a grin. And Miss Crutchfield is like 100 years old, so she doesn't even know what's going on most of the time. She was my mom's home ec teacher, and Mom said she wasn't young back then. She was my mom's home ec teacher too, Peyton said. Mom said that she was going to be a freshman. Girls were required to take home ec. Now that's super sexist, Marley said. What did the boys do while the girls were taking home ec? They took geography. Mom said it was like the school was saying that boys needed to know their way around the world, but girls just needed to know their way around the kitchen. Peyton's mom did know her way around the kitchen, but she also knew her way around the bank where she was branch manager. Like her mom, Peyton wanted a future where she could balance a career and a family. Good afternoon, young ladies, Peyton and Marley's conversation was interrupted by the quivery voice of Miss Crutchfield, who had just tottered into the room. She was tiny, bird-like woman, wearing a navy blue dotted dress so she could very well have worn back when she was Peyton's mom teacher. Or somebody's grandmother's teacher. And welcome to Home Economics. Here you'll be learning the art of keeping a gracious home. Peyton rolled her eyes and gave Marley a look, which caused her to have a suppressed giggle. Wait, Peyton thought. Miss Crutchfield had said young ladies. Did she mean that there were no boys in the class? She looked around the room. Only girls, so maybe things hadn't changed that much since her mom was in school. Boys were allowed to take home ec now, but apparently they didn't choose to do so. You're going to learn skills such as cooking and cleaning and sewing, Miss Crutchfield said, gesturing toward the kitchen equipment and the sewing machines in the room. But you're also going to learn the almost lost art of etiquette. Might any of you young ladies be able to use the word etiquette in a sentence? I ate a kit of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Kit, Peyton whispered to Marley, who laughed. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Kits were all the rage, even among high school kids. It was a nostalgia thing, Peyton supposed. Whether it was a birthday or for no particular reason, visiting the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Kit factory and build your own pizza was comforting and delicious. Miss Crutchfield turned her head toward Peyton. Could you repeat that so the whole class can hear it, please? Peyton felt her face heating up. It was a stupid joke, I whispered to Marley. Yes, Miss Crutchfield said, and now I'm asking you to share it with the whole class. Peyton knew her face was as red as a tomato. I said, I ate a kit of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Kit. A few kids tittered, but the pun didn't seem nearly as funny as when she said it out loud for everyone to hear. Very amusing, Miss Crutchfield said, and it's interesting that you mentioned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Kits because next week we will be joining the culinary arts class for a visit to the factory where they are made. The class erupted in cheers and cries. Awesome and yes! Miss Crutchfield displayed a very slight smile. Permission slips will go out on Wednesday. She looked at Peyton with a stern expression. But now, in all seriousness, can you give the class a definition in the word etiquette? Peyton was more than ready for Miss Crutchfield's attention to shift elsewhere. Doesn't it mean like good manners? Yes, Miss Crutchfield said. And from now on, I ask you to demonstrate good manners by raising your hand before you speak in my class. Yes, ma'am, Peyton said, barely above a whisper. She wondered if this class was going to be the walk in the park that Marley said it was. Miss Crutchfield might be old, but it didn't seem like she missed much. Hey, could you get the table while I say the spaghetti cooking? Peyton's mom said. She was still wearing her nice blue blouse and gray dress slacks from work, and had taken off her pumps and replaced them with fuzzy pink house slippers. Sure, Peyton said, getting up from the couch where she had been aimlessly channel surfing. And thanks to Miss Crutchfield, I'll set the table 100% correctly so everybody will know we're living in a... She made quotation marks in the index and middle fingers of both hands. Gracious home, Peyton's mom laughed. Yeah, a gracious home with spaghetti with jarred sauce and bag of pre-made salad are on the dinner menu. Miss Crutchfield will probably call Child Protective Services if she knew what I'm feeding you. She dropped the contents of the box of spaghetti into the steaming pot of water. How is Miss Crutchfield doing anyway? That woman ought to be older than dirt. Peyton opened the silverware drawer and retrieved 3 forks. She still seems pretty sharp. She was sharp enough to call me out when I made a snarky comment to Marley. Yeah, you need to watch those, Mom said, stirring the noodles. I made snarky comments when I was in her class, too. She always probably thinks you come by it honestly. Because I do, Peyton said, smiling. She set the forks in the left of the plates. Miss Crutchfield said that there needed to be separate forks for salad and the entree, but Peyton put down 1 fork per plate only. Why wash more silverware? And I don't know why you let Marley talk you into taking that class, Mom said, stirring the sauce with a wooden spoon. You could have taken art instead. You like art. You're good at it. Are you implying that I'm not good at gracious homemaking? Peyton said, bottling her eyelashes theoretically and doing a cute curtsy. Mom smiled and shook her head. I'm implying that if you look of your room, you don't care a fig about gracious homemaking. I'm also implying that sometimes you let Marley talk you into things you wouldn't do otherwise. And Peyton sighed. It was an old argument. You don't like Marley. I like Marley fine, Mom said, ripping open the bag of salad and dumping its contents into a bowl. But she has a really strong personality and strong opinions. And I think that sometimes she steamrolls over other people and their wishes and opinions. She doesn't steamroll over me, Peyton said, opening the fridge door and finding the Parmesan cheese. People did say that Marley was bossy, but that was because she was a natural leader, Peyton thought. Really? Mom raised an eyebrow. So you're telling me that you wouldn't have taken home EC even if Marley hadn't suggested it? Peyton hated it when her mom backed her into her corner. Even if you were right, there was no winning an argument with her. Now who's the steamroller? No, I wouldn't have thought to take it, but the way she told me about it sounded fun and kind of, funny. Well, I hope you find it funny when Miss Crutchfield grades you on boiling an egg and gives you a C-. I'm speaking from experience here. The woman has impossible standards. Peyton sat on her bed, propped up on pillows, doing a boring social studies assignment on her laptop. On her walls, posters of the boys from her favorite K-pop group smiled down at her like they invited her to abandon her drudgery and go dancing with them instead. An instant message from Marley popped up on her screen. What are you doing? Peyton welcomed the distraction. Homework, you? Nothing. Bored. You want to go over with the tasty cone? I'm doing homework, remember? So finish it or ditch it. Who cares? I'll meet you on the corner of Brook and Branch in half an hour. Peyton hesitated before responding. If she knew to meet Marley in half an hour, she would mean she'd have 20 minutes to finish her homework, which wasn't a realistic amount of time for the assignment she had. But a chocolate vanilla swirl cone would taste really good. It was always fun to see who was hanging out at the tasty cone. Marley knew everybody had made easy conversation with them, unlike Peyton, who tended to be on the shy side, but she felt less shy when she was with Marley. Okay, she finally typed. See you in 30. Peyton raced through the rest of her homework assignment, doing she knew was a slapdash job. When she came downstairs, her mom and dad were on the couch, watching one of those crime shows they found endlessly entertaining, even though every episode seemed identical to Peyton. Hey, Peyton said, already halfway out the front door. I'm going to walk with Marley to the tasty cone. Did you finish your homework? Mom asked. Yes, Peyton said. She didn't do it well, but she did finish it. You need some money? Her dad asked. Got some, thanks. As Peyton shut the door behind her, she heard her mom call, Be home by dark. Marley was standing in the corner of Brook and Branch as promised. I had to get out of the house, Marley said. Mom and Dad have company. These friends they went to college with, they're so boring. Every story starts with, do you remember the time? And ends with something totally unmemorable. Peyton laughed. Yeah, at least they're trying to have fun. Trying but failing, Marley said. It's pathetic. But do you think you get to be a certain age and just automatically get boring? I hope not, Peyton said. It was upsetting to think about. One birthday too many, and then you were an adult and incapable of having fun. It was all the more reason to have fun as much as possible now. They walked toward the tasty cone. A boy rode by on a bike and almost wrecked because he was looking at Marley. It was impossible not to be aware of Marley's beauty. She had golden blonde hair and big blue eyes that somehow, unfairly, managed to have long, dark lashes. Her body was slim but curvy enough to be feminine. Boys tripped over her feet or walked over their words when confronted by her. Girls they were either too jealous or too insecure to be Marley's friend, but not Peyton. Peyton had no illusions about her own looks. Too far, her short, skinny body was so free of curves, she looked like she had been drawn using a ruler. Her hair and eyes were dull brown, she had freckles that she hated, but when she hung out with Marley, she felt like a little of Marley's glitter might rub off on her. She was just plain little sparrow who would be best friends with a flamingo. Outside the tasty cone, they sat at a picnic table. Peyton had a chocolate vanilla swirl cone, and Marley with a huge banana split. Another thing that Peyton had noticed that was Marley could eat whatever she wanted, and never seemed to gain an ounce. You don't look at the table behind us, Marley whispered, spooning up ice cream with banana and a chocolate sauce. Naturally, Peyton looked. It was a table full of boys who were in their history class, drinking milkshakes and trading insults and laughing the way boys did. I told you not to look, Marley hissed at her. If you tell somebody not to look at something, they're automatically going to look, Peyton said. It's like in elementary school when somebody tells you not to do something, then you do it anyway, and it's opposite day. Marley smiled. It was a dazzling smile, even though there was hot fudge sauce on her upper lip. Sean Anderson is sitting at that table, she whispered. Emma Franklin said that Sean likes me. Peyton rolled her eyes. Marley, it's not that newsworthy or anything. All the guys like you. That's not true, Marley blushed, spooning up more ice cream. Well, okay, most guys like me, but most guys are gross. Sean's not gross. He's on the principal's list for good grades, and he's on the basketball team. He's so well-rounded. Plus, he smells good. Well, not stinking is important, Peyton said to be funny, but it was true. A lot of ninth-grade boys were not yet on speaking terms with deodorant, a fact that made the school hallway smell like a giant armpit. Why don't you go talk to him? I just can't go, talk to him. Marley looked at Peyton as if she said the most ridiculous thing on earth. Okay, often Peyton felt that there was some kind of script or male-female behavior that Marley had received, but had missed out on. Peyton tended to be straightforward with people, but apparently straightforwardness was the opposite sex violated some elaborate set of rules that no one had ever bothered explaining to her. Well, I can't go talk to him alone, Marley said. Maybe as we're leaving, we'll walk by his table. If he looks at me, I'll just say hi to him. But it was to look casual. I just happened to see him as we were leaving. Not like I was going past his table to say hi on him on purpose. Okay, Peyton said again. While hanging out with Marley, there was always so much drama. Peyton sometimes felt like there was a minor character in a play Marley was starring in. Peyton didn't feel like she knew all the lines for this play, or even like she quite understood the plot, but it was still entertaining. She was happy that the star like Marley had agreed to let Peyton share the stage with her. Okay, ready? Marley asked as soon as Peyton popped the last bite of cone into her mouth. Sure, Peyton said, still chewing. As they got off the table and threw away the trash, then walked past the table where the boys were sitting. Peyton watched Marley work. Marley paused by the table just long enough to catch Sean's eye. Oh, hi, Sean, she said, as if she were surprised to see him there. Peyton noticed that Sean's ears turned red. Hi, Marley, Sean said, without making eye contact. Nobody said hi to Peyton, nor did she expect them to. As she and Marley walked away, she heard the guys teasing Sean and laughing. Oh, hi, Sean, one of them said, exaggeratedly high feminine voice. Marley smiled. Well, that got his attention. I think you already had it, Peyton said. Well, now he knows that I know, which is important. Peyton's grades in school were higher than Marley's, yet often in conversations with Marley, she felt like she was slow to catch on. He knows that you know what? Marley let an annoyed sounded sigh. Ugh. He knows that I know that he likes me, you dork. How can somebody so smart be so stupid at the same time? Peyton smiled and shrugged. I don't know, but with your looks and social skills and my book smarts, if you mixed us together, we make the perfect person. To Peyton's relief, Marley smiled back. We would, wouldn't we? We could take over the world. Hey, I don't feel like going home yet. Why don't we walk down to the park? Payne looked up at the gray sky. I don't know. I told Mom I'd be home by dark. Marley smiled a charming smile and cocked her head like an adorable puppy. Come on. We'll just be, say, 10 minutes. It won't be full dark in another half hour. She nudged Peyton's shoulders. We can go to the pond and feed the ducks. Peyton sighed. She had loved ducks ever since she was a little girl. The way they were graceful in the water was so hilariously clumsy out of she loved their blank, serene little faces and their nasal-sounding quacks. Okay, but just for 10 minutes. And there we go. So, today we read pages 126 to 140. And next time we will be reading pages 141 to 160. Usually I have something funny or bantery to say, but I wasn't planning on recording tonight at all. And by tonight, I actually mean tonight. It's about 10 o'clock at night. I don't know why, I just had the weird mood to record. There's nothing that prompted it. Usually I'd make an entire dedicated day to record. Because these recordings take a little bit of time. It's about 30 minutes for the recording, 10 minutes to edit, 10 minutes to process. Well, actually 5 minutes to edit, 10 minutes to process, 2 minutes for the thumbnail, you know, that type of stuff. But, yeah. I don't know what made me prompted, and this story, it sounds like I've read it before. But before the next episode is out, I'm gonna review old books that I've read for the channel before and see if I'm crazy or if I have read them before. I don't know if I've read them before. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But yeah. Hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.